Hey everybody, GC13 here. It's Saturday, and you know what that means. Tonight, there's a big wrestling pay-per-view, so I've got wrestling on the brain. And, since we've just finished wrapping up our discussion of the Glitch Text episodes on the podcast, I'm already missing the show. Thankfully, Glitch Text does have an episode featuring a wrestler as its main villain, and I do mean just that. Tutorial Mode isn't a wrestling episode, it's primarily about Miko and Five going through the Glitch Tech tutorial. But when they get bored with that tutorial and decide to load up a notorious piece of vaporware instead, they end up meeting Garbile. Now, if you read the Glitch Text manual, you'll learn that in-universe, the Garbile in Nobi Grossout is voiced by a famous wrestler, Dandy Ravage. Even if you aren't a wrestling fan, you might still know that that's a parody of famous wrestler Macho Man Randy Savage. I don't think that's who Garbile is based on, but I do want to point out that Garbile's trunks are 100% based on Randy Savage's. But what other features do you see on Garbile? I see a head that's largely bald, but with hair still along the outer edges, and a mustache that really hangs down there. So I think those parts of Garbile were based on one of Randy Savage's contemporaries, the famous Hulk Hogan. It doesn't hurt that Hogan's reputation is, maybe, not the best these days. Certainly it would make more sense to base a garbage person off of him, not Savage. That said, Randy Savage is the one famous for giving out elbow drops, so it looks like Dandy Ravage got more than just his trunks placed onto Garbile. Despite the name, wrestlers do more than just wrestle. They also do what's called cutting a promo, and while Garbile doesn't get much promo time, he gets just enough.
What's the matter, brother? Too afraid to get your hands dirty?
That's right, toss in a brother, and you know it's an old school wrestling promo. That's not just a trick up Matt and Ben's sleeves, everyone knows it. Add that to the fact that Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage are super famous, and I can't say how much wrestling knowledge went into making Tutorial Mode. But, intentionally or not, they did capture another important aspect of wrestling, referee discretion. In the lore of wrestling, the referee's word is law. When we covered Pencil Break Mania, I mentioned that if the referee doesn't see it, then it didn't happen. Except when it did. Well, that comes out in another way. If the referee doesn't call it, it didn't happen. Garbile executes a sneak attack on Five, piling onto him in a move not unlike a roll-up, a broad term that can be applied with varying degrees of accuracy to any move that tries to pin a guy not by knocking him senseless, but by simply using leverage to prevent him from getting up. And I say it was like a roll-up because it looks like the reason he didn't further attack Five or Miko was because he was waiting for Miko to count the pin.
Hey, what? No fair, ref! I had that guy pinned fair and square!
Why he would decide Miko of all people should be the referee might not make much sense to a non-wrestling fan. But biased referees are a hazard that all wrestlers have to be ready to face. Garbile was probably expecting her to be slow to start counting, and then slow to count when she did, but actively breaking up a legal pin is going too far, even for a ref. I do wonder what would have happened if Miko had realized what Garbile was doing and counted the pin for him. You'd think that winning a match would have completed his programming and he would have gone back into the game, like we've seen happen a few times for glitches too powerful to de-res by force. Food for thought. That's not the only programming Garbile has to follow, though. One of the keys to a great wrestling show is storytelling, getting people invested in a match and its outcome because they want to see where the story goes or how it ends. Wrestling has the most freedom to do this, but in Tutorial Mode, we see a classic story you'll find just about anywhere competitions occur, the grudge match. When Garbile decides he's done with them and wants to finish this storyline for good, Miko and Five decide to make the final fight of this saga Garbile vs. Sanitron, his old enemy. Not only a practical choice to beat Garbile with someone who had beaten him before, but also a choice of someone Garbile would want to fight even more than them. Of course our good guys win the match. That's the most common outcome in wrestling's biggest storylines, since it's the most satisfying for the audience. And what could be more satisfying for the audience of Glitch Techs than seeing Miko and Five beat their first glitch as employees of Hinobi and not get fired for it? Maybe some more helpy?
Allow me to drop some knowledge on you, players.
Just me? Okay. Did you enjoy the wrestling elements in Tutorial Mode? What was your favorite inclusion? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it. Dislike it if you didn't. Subscribe to the channel for more cartoon videos. And go Hangman Adam Page!